Hi students, hope it is good going. Last two modules we understood basics of communications and the important elements involved in the communication process. How communication starts and how communication ends. In between, what are the major components so that we discussed in the last video module. So in this module, you will understand the features of communication, or you can see that the communication, how it is important, and then what is the reason for a recent increase emphasis on the communications unlike past. And at the same time, in this module you also learn the important C's. I think there are certain C's that we need to keep in mind when we are involving in the communication process. So with that, so we will just look forward to understand the main issues of these communications. So if you see the functions of communications in an organizations, right? How actually communication appears in the organizational setup, right? If you see that it is something related to inform, right? It is to inform something to others, right? And so there is an involvement of instruction or instruct to others, inform and instruct at workplace on something related to job and responsibilities or something else, and sharing of information. So at the same time, so information that is available in the organizations, so the information supposed to be shared among all the people of the organizations, right? And it actually the information, right, so that comes from the higher level management. So there is an involvement of the motivation element. It is information to motivate the workers. So for example, if you intimate them, you will have a special bonus on your performance enhancement, so that automatically motivate the workers at the shop floor level. So in that way, you can see that leading the organizations, when you want to just lead, or even if you just take the organization to the next level, so there is a need of communication, so that the spread across the organizations. So the communication also is used for controlling, right? So we use it for controlling, and then as a whole, the management exists in the organizations in the form of information, or so that is through communication only. So in that way, you can see that these are the key, the functions of communication in the organizational setup. So if you see, as far as important factors which are responsible for growing importance of communication in the recent past. So as I was mentioning earlier, so the communication has become a need, right? It is essential component of every graduate who is actually looking for a career in the corporate line, or even if you want to start your own organization with self-employment. So the communication is most important dimensions, because so you need to work with people, and your communication is going to determine your the business, the success or failure. So that extent you can see that the key role of communication in the present context. So if you see that the factors, the global business environment, now the business is globally spread, and everywhere the business is taking place. So in that context, if you see that the communication varies from place to place, and the people to people, and then country to country, and then intentions, and then communication models. So all together you will find a lot of differences. So with all these diversities, how you are going to make your communication is more effective, and then reachable to the end receivers. So that is most important part. So at the same time, larger scale operations. So now the communication is why it is so important. So because of this globalization and liberalization and privatization, so the business is the traveling across. So now you can see that the operations are very wide and then expanded across. So in that context, only the networking and then the controlling of all activities is just only the communication. So at the same time, you can see the technological advancement that is happening, role of information, and the change in the management roles, need for better human relations and higher motivations levels, and increasing social roles. So these are the major issues on which you can see that the communication is becoming more and more relevant and important in the present context, right? So further, if you see that the important C's of communications, right? So it must be correct, clear, candid, complete, concise, consistent, coherent, courteous, credible, and chronological, considerate, and continuous. So you can see that these are the important C's that just I would like to inform you. So in the communication, so if you just ensure all these elements, so that communication is meaningful and effective and serve the purpose, right? What for you want to communicate, what do you want to intimate or inform. So the purpose will be served when we ensure that these C's are there in the communication, no, in your no, interaction with others. So this is what I want to just share in this module. And then, so let us just look forward further to explore and understand the communication. And so we'll see that in the video 39. And thank you. Let me stop here and looking forward to meet you again.